hero facing a league of justice. His power was the people. Enemy is lethal. A king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing. Our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in a dream they had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war. Individually, it takes the wisdom of elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen glory.
One day when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Whoa, one day when the war is won, it will be strong. We will be strong. Oh, glory, glory, oh, glory, 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 one day.
Welcome, everyone. Glad you are here. I've done so many webinars this summer that I've learned it's best to start with some music so people can get time to get in the room. And even as I speak, we're still letting people in. So we wanted to make sure we didn't miss anyone. Thank you for joining us to take part in what we've called the teacher orientation, because that's the language that we've used in the past. But in reality, what we're doing today is a little bit different. It is really kind of an overview to let you know what's happening with our Witness School program for this year in these very different times. And we're just delighted that you're going to spend these next 55 minutes with us. Our orientation will usually be a 4-hour session. And so we're doing something new in the spirit of everything being different. So feel free to sign into the chat there and let us know who you are. There'll be some other things that we might ask of you during the session as well. I'm joined here by my colleagues, Rob Graham and Amanda Timmer, who work with me in the Department of Learning and Engagement for VocalEssence. Rob manages the Witness School program, handles a lot of the logistics. So he's one of the people you would interface with if you do indeed sign up to participate with us this year. Amanda works with us handling a lot of the statistics and the forms for this program, and she works with our other programs as well. So you will receive emails and other communications from her from time to time. As well, we are joined by our dynamic team of VocalEssence teaching artists, some amazing artists, human beings who work all around our community to bring people together through the power of artistic creativity and human expression. So our plan for today, you can see right here on the slide, is to begin with an overview about the program this year so you can know what it's going to be about, what we're doing, how we're doing it. Then we're going to spend a little bit of time, a brief, very brief interview with our teaching artists, just so you can get a sense for what they are going to cover in their sessions. And then we'll leave a little time for some Q&A at the end. So glad you're here, but I'm going to dive right in because time is a waste in here. So for those who don't know about VocalEssence Witness, for over 30 years, this is one of the nation's premier initiatives, celebrating not only contributions of African Americans, but just throughout the African diaspora there, Afro-Caribbean, just all around those of African descent, our culture, our music, all kinds of ways that we interact with the world, and really juxtaposing that, bringing that to how it contributes to what we called our shared heritage here in America. And I think that's very important now in these days with the conversations we're having, as important as ever before. So for this year, our theme is, will you be a witness? Music and movements of social change. We really obviously are responding to our environment, just thinking about all that we've experienced, all of the trauma that we've experienced through the COVID-19 pandemic, but also through the racial pandemic that has resurfaced. It's always been there, but it has really resurfaced in these last 4 months, and it's still going on, as we know. We wanted to be really intentional about how could we respond to that in a way that's authentic to us as a music organization that engages with the community. And so we want music to be at the forefront. Throughout history and across cultures, you can read this, music has been a very important part, creative expression, movement, art, in advancing social change, especially for people who look like me. I think it's true in all cultures, but for those of us who have been marginalized, our communities have really relied on these forms of expression and creativity to heal, but also to say what we need to say, to move us forward, to propel us forward onto the path of equality and justice and equity. So that's kind of our context here. And the second portion of this is that this year we want to ask the questions to our students, will you be a witness? So it's going to invite them to explore this music, explore this creativity, the way we use our bodies for resistance, ways to speak up, and consider how it can be sources of healing, social justice, societal change, ways that they can even create themselves to empower them and prepare them to be not only change agents, but that they can be leaders in the movements that are going on now, that they don't have to just step out in front and create something new. They can see a movement that's ongoing, join in, and lead it to a new direction and a new dimension. So speaking of new things, there's a lot new with VocalEssence Witness this year. First of all, it's going to be online. This obviously makes sense that we know we can't go into the classrooms in the same way. And rather than trying to put together a booklet and mail the booklet and deal with lessons in the old way, when each of you are having to teach your students in different ways, we've decided that it's going to be in a video format. So the entire curriculum, so to speak, everything that we provide to you will be in the form of videos. We'll have introductory lesson videos that range from 15 minutes to 30 minutes or so that talk about specific topics in very creative and engaging ways, as well as the topical workshop videos that our teaching artists will create. All of their workshops that have been done in person in the past will be created in the form of videos that you can then use with your students. And one of the things that this allows us to do is to let it be customized for what you need. So if you are meeting in person, you could do this in person in the classroom, physically distanced, of course. But if you're hybrid, you could choose to do some things in person and then have the students do other things at home and piece it together so that it works cohesively. But I think it also works for those of us who are going to be in a distance learning setting here, so that you can do everything at home. If you're meeting them synchronously via Google Meets or Zoom or whatever the platform is, you could watch things together. You could talk about things together. There's going to be interactive ways where students can create things and then share them that then get shared with the rest of the class. So we're excited about the fact that we think you'll be able to customize it to fit your situation. All of these workshops and resources will be available on our website throughout the school year. And there's a couple of cool things about this. Number one, we are redesigning our VocalEssence website to create a witness hub. So if you sign up for the program, you will get a login and you'll create your own password. And then that gives you access to this portal where it will be set up very beautifully. We're in the prototype B stage right now. We're getting close to being able to start putting materials up there where you can easily navigate to what you want to find. It'll be very colorful, guided by theme, by teaching artists, and the portal will be set up so that you can move back and forth between the different elements of the portals, from an introductory lesson right to a workshop without having to leave that portal. The other exciting thing is that you don't have to choose your teaching artist this year. So for those of you who've been a part of the program in the past, you know that one of the exciting things is to hear what the teaching artists are going to do. And then you sign up for the teaching artists that you want to work with, and then you wait to see who you get assigned. Well, this year, your students can work with all 7 of our teaching artist teams, because T. Michael and Anita work together as a team. We have 8 teaching artists, but 7 teams. So conceivably, you could do all 7 sets of workshops if you wanted to. Finally, 2 other points here. You will have the opportunity to schedule the teaching artist for synchronous online classroom visits if that's something your school is interested in. That will be something that we'll talk to you about after you sign up for the program. It would be on a payment basis. We've worked out a very reasonable fee to make that happen so that we can accommodate what the teaching artists are doing. But it's a way to add on if you want that really personal attention after watching the workshops and spending time with them. You could actually have them come into your classrooms. And this is not unlike what we've done in the past with the Witness program, where some schools sign up for residencies and have the teaching artists for a week or 2 weeks at a time. That's always something that's been on a per cost basis that we still subsidize. And so we've just found a way to do that online as well. We're also open to in-person visits, but I just don't think it's going to happen this year, so I didn't put it on the slide. Finally, when it comes to our Young People's Concert, which has always been the kind of the pinnacle of the experience, we all gather in Orchestra Hall to kind of experience what we've studied together with our singers of this age youth choir, our VocalEssence adults, and our teaching artists. This year, that concert will be pre-recorded, featuring the elements that you expect, and then will be available for you to stream on a particular date. So if you want to have a streaming party, the first day it's released is great, but you also will have access to that concert throughout the rest of the year, so you can use it in a variety of formats there. So that's what's new with VocalEssence Witness, and that's in a sense how the program is going to operate this year. So I want to shift into part 2 of our time together, is to spend a little time meeting our dynamic team of teaching artists. There they are. What a beautiful group of individuals. And I love Roxanne's shirt there. It's what we're about. I love my history. I love my culture. I love my people. I love me. And I would add on to that, and I love you. You know, because I love me, I love you too. And all of our teaching artists operate this way. They bring great care and attention to every student that they encounter, to every workshop, every teacher that they work with. When you have a planning session with them, they are listening to you to see how you want to shape things. So this year, the difference is that they are going to shape it themselves and give you something that we think will be really beneficial. With this theme of movements of social change, we asked each of our teaching artists, what excites you? What do you want to talk about this year? So I'm excited to invite Dr. Timothy Berry to unmute himself. And this is Dr. Timothy Berry. How are you, Dr. Berry?
I'm doing great. Good to see everybody. And I agree with everything you're saying, man. I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's great. I got to find you there. So I'm going to hold on. I'm going to just stop the share for a second. I'm going to go back and forth. So keep talking, Timothy, because I got to put you on the spotlight so they can see you.
Keep talking. All right.
There you are. There you are.
I'm right here.
You know how this Zoom thing is.
Yeah.
There he is. So Thanks for being with us today, making some time. Just tell everybody in a few minutes here about what you plan to cover in your workshops this year. What's your focus?
So my focus is on looking at the music of social change, but through this lens of music that has inspired and that uplifts, even in the midst of the worst circumstances. And so, to me, even the whole idea of witness goes back to that, like how people could sing, such songs, even while they were enduring such horrendous conditions. And so I'll be looking at, ways to engage students with sort of analyzing and listening to, poems that inspire songs, or even songs themselves that have done that over time. particularly in recent times.
Thank you, Timothy. Really appreciate that and love your backdrop too. It gives me joy.
Right. That's right.
Rob? Rob, do you want to introduce Ginger?
Hi there. Sorry, everyone. I had a mute faux pas, as we all have had. It's so good to see you all here. Ginger, are you there? I don't know if we see Ginger yet. So we may want to switch gears. Let's go to Carla. Hi, Carla. And Carla, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, wonderful, Carla. It's so great to see you. And it's so great to see your creative space behind you. I love it. So Carla, why don't you share with the teachers in the room and with all of us a little bit about what you're thinking of this year? What are the things that you really want your students to learn and to take away from your workshop experiences this year?
Absolutely. I'm focusing on the value of the oral tradition and how that manifested itself over time and geography, and how integrated that is into the fiber of our experience, along with all of the other forms of expression that that are us. With relation to like social change. I don't know if I'll give you guys a couple of examples. I spent a lot of time checking out the work of the Last Poets when I first started deciding to write anything that had to do with social justice many years ago. I wanted to see whose shoulders I was standing on. And we can take it a little further, we can keep going further back, but I want to pinpoint milestones and help students to spark their own creativity, find points of identification, points of, being able to identify within themselves what in oral tradition, how is that played out in their cultures? How's it played out in their families? How does that play out in their everyday lives? Like, for instance, church, the art of call and response. So I want to identify the gems of our culture that lend themselves to the spoken word and how that manifests itself going all the way back to the griots in West and Central Africa. Thanks.
Oh, that's wonderful, Carla. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for students to be able to share their own experiences in that oral tradition. I love it. All right.
Thanks, Carla. And thank you, Rob. And Ginger is in the room. We just realized she is on her iPhone and it shows up differently. So Ginger, I'll give you a chance to unmute yourself while everybody takes a look at your beautiful picture here and gets to see a little bit about you in case they don't know you. And when you're ready, just say something to us.
Hey, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I'm looking for you now. And I see you. There you are.
See me?
I do.
Yeah.
How
Awesome.
are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
I'm going to make it.
I know. I know, right?
I am. Well,
We're all in the boat.
We are. And I'm really, I'm excited about all of these workshops, but yours really strikes a particular chord with me because of my family's experiences and what my dad had on the radio. So
Sure.
why don't you tell everybody what you're going to focus on this year with the students?
Well, we are, dealing with social change. And I'm going to use a couple of songs this year to try to delve into it a little bit. The young ones often feel like they don't have a way to insert themselves into how change is happening because they are so young. But I'm going to be using the songs Lean on Me and Grandma's Hands. There's a strong importance of grandparents in the African American community. And it'll be fun to trace some of that back And in that process, especially with the younger students, using grandma's hands, and there can be, I have some worksheets. They get to learn the song. They can talk to you, me, about, well, of course it's backwards, about, tell us about your grandma. My grandma's name is, she's so many years old. Grandma likes to say, my grandma really loves blah, blah, blah. She likes to eat, she likes to drink, and we fill out this sort of questionnaire. I have several pieces, ways that they can give that information. They'll learn the song Grandma's Hands, and then the older students will look at Lean on Me and its inspiration. There's a video that will be played that shows a number of people that tried to attend the inauguration of President Barack Obama. It started to rain and they took refuge and they ended up in a tunnel that they couldn't get out of. And all of a sudden, 4,000 people started singing Lean on Me. It's quite dynamic. And so we would delve into the inspiration. I have some video of Bill Withers having explained how he wrote the song and what certain things mean. So there's a lot of content there. And we also will make available an arrangement or two of Lean on Me that can be taught to choirs if that is of interest to the school.
Ginger, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for our students this year to dive into those songs.
Yeah, I've come up with some really fabulous information about each of the songs, and can't wait to present it to the kids.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Ginger. So as many of
And
you...
Grandma's Hands, we have lots of shades of colors of
Oh, I love that.
that they come in, so we don't want to leave anyone out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ginger.
Certainly.
As many of you know, and maybe some of you don't know, the Commodore family is very well rooted in the Twin Cities and around the world as a dynamic and talented and skilled musical family. We are so lucky to have another Commodore on our teaching artist roster, who happens to be Ginger's son, Brandon Commodore. Brandon, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How are you? Hope
Oh,
everybody's well and healthy and safe.
thanks, Brandon. You know, as well as we can be in this crazy year of 2020.
Indeed.
Well, Brandon, thanks so much for joining us. And why don't you share a little bit about what you're hoping to do with your lesson plans and workshops this year, and what you hope students will experience in their time with you?
Yeah, so my workshop will essentially be centered around the relationship or the role that music, entertainment, and media and the arts that have played alongside of social change and social change movements. If we think about like the civil rights era, gospel music, soul music was huge during that time. And the radio stations, any Black radio stations that were able to be on air were huge at that time and spreading information. And so the children that, the children of today, they have things like laptops that they can make music on or play games on, and social media is a huge thing right now. Obviously, we all know that. So using these tools to now join the movement and play that role that music and the arts played back then, having the kids play that role now. So how can they use all of the things that they do online on social media to help be a part of change, to help spread positive message, to help make sure people are informed about things that are happening in their communities? I'm sure everyone on here has had their share of learning about Fortnite in the last few years. So now how can we then get them to use that or something like that? I think, was it TikTok now is a big thing, how can we use all of these things to be a part and activate that change?
Thank you so much, Brandon. I just love the passion that you bring to everything that you do, but especially helping our young people connect with the present, the past through the present is what I mean to say,
Yeah.
by seeing themselves and the picture they can learn about the history and then begin to see a way forward too. So I'm excited to see how your workshops emerge, and thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think Patricia, she's teaching a class and she's going to join us in a few minutes here. So I'm going to move forward and show you 2 slides here at first, because as I mentioned earlier, T. Michael Rambo, many of you may know T. Michael and the many roles and many hats that he plays. He partners with Anita Ruth, a little R&R. So you've got M&Ms and we have R&R here at VocalEssence, and it's not rest and relaxation, let me tell you, because they get the students going in their workshop. So T. Michael and Anita, welcome. And I'm going to invite both of you to unmute. And this is where Zoom breaks down, because I can't put both of you on spotlight, but whoever's talking, I'll put that person on the speaker view and it should work. So take it away and tell us, what are you going to focus on this year? What do you have in store for us?
Well, I'll simply introduce myself first. I am of the 2, T. Michael Rambo, and I'm delighted to work with Anita Ruth, who will, after I finish my introduction, will share more about our interest in pursuing what we have found has stimulated and also excited and sparked the curiosity of our students in past years of witness programming, and that is the sit-ins, the marches, and those forms of nonviolent protest. And so we'll be doing some juxtapositioning and some compare contrast with those of the 50s and 60s, and how we and our young people in our communities are looking and introduced to these same sorts of protests, but kind of coming from a different way today. Anita, why don't you share some more about what we'll be doing?
Okay, I think Michael covered it quite well. Last year, we did show some pictures of the sit-ins to our students, and everybody seemed quite interested in that. And they were able to identify, as young people, a way that they could protest and a way that they could be a part of the social change. So we are going to explore that. We're going to explore some of the songs that they sang while they were doing these sit-in protests. I actually found one song that is called The Ballad of the Student Sit-ins. So we'll teach that to the kids. And then our final part of it will be the rich tradition of people writing new words to the old spirituals. We have many examples of that, particularly during the civil rights movement. So we're going to take the ballad of the student sit-ins and ask the kids to write new lyrics about today, about what it would be like to be a student and in participating in a sit-in.
And that wraps it up. That's how we're looking at it. And one of the things that Anita and I, like so many of the witness artists who do this phenomenal work, is that much of our work will be sparked by the students' interest, but also by their participation and their creativity as well. So we're looking forward to joining any one of our schools, and thanks for this time.
Thank you, T. Michael, and thank you, Anita, both for sharing. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about that ballad. I had not heard of that before. And I think, T. Michael, I wish that we could all join you in the tropics on that beautiful beach behind you.
Oh, I thought you, yes, exactly. I am in Fiji. I'll be back soon.
Well, we are there with you in spirit, my friend. So we are gonna move on with our hour. Time is, of course, ticking away as we're, as they say, time flies when you're having fun. We are gonna go next to another one of our teaching artists who specializes in movement and dance, Roxanne Wallace. Hello, Roxanne.
Hello.
How are
Hi,
you?
everybody. This year, I've really been interested in the most basic thing that we are, which is the physical self, our bodies. So I've really been looking at and reading articles about the body as protest, right? So even if the song can't be heard, if the writing can't be received by the person that needs it, we have always historically been present with the body in protest, whether it be apartheid South Africa with the school children walking in protest, or the civil rights movement. And I think it's no joke that it is actually called a movement and protest movements. So we're really gonna look at how your body is indeed an instrument and can be an instrument of change and is a powerful instrument, the most powerful one we have. Even in just how we express ourselves, adding a little bit of physicality can give emphasis to what we're trying to say, right? So we're gonna look at that at multiple levels. Some inspiration that we might use as a jumping off point is this very iconic photo now of Aisha Evans just standing peace. She looks like complete peace. And there are officers coming to arrest her because she was standing in the street. It was the first time she'd ever been part of a protest. And it's sort of a remnant from famous iconic photos in the 60s. There's a photo of a protester that has a flower and she's standing right near the weapon held by a National Guard person. So looking at that on a scale of how then with dance can you intentionally use your body to communicate meaning? How can you make movements in order to express something that you're feeling? How can you take a small phrase of movement and change it, tweak it, play with it so that you're more intentional about what you're trying to express? And what I love about being able to do this, that it's adaptable for all ages, but I think the power in gaining more understanding and control about what you're communicating, or understanding and control about how can you make a movement intentionally mean what you want to say. So I'm really excited about this year and getting to get to the nitty gritty of that, the body as an instrument of power and change and communication.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Roxanne. I think that is going to be transformative for many people, thinking about, like you said, our body as an instrument of change. It's not something that we often consider. So really look forward to watching you develop those workshops. So Roxanne, as you saw, Carla and Patricia are our movement specialists. And as I mentioned before, Patricia's teaching a class and had a little window, so she still may join us. But there you can read about her. And I just want to read what she shared with us as her plans. So it is my intention to use dance, music, and video to inspire peace, love, and community as a form of creating nonviolent protest. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi employed resistance through nonviolent civil disobedience as an approach to impact the world. And then she's talking about there's a group called a global movement. And there it is again, Roxanne, that word movement, playing for change. And it's a movement, an organization created to inspire and connect the world through music, with the shared belief that music has the power to break down boundaries and overcome distances between people. So she's going to use some of their arrangements of songs, Love Train and Everyday People and Where There Is Love, and then bringing that imagery of music and movement together to showcase the power of art as an alternative nonviolent way of community building, and to promoting that expression that we've heard over and over, being the change that we want to see in the world. And so it may sound a little bit sterile from me because I'm reading it from her words, but when you hear Patricia talk about it, I think it will be a very powerful way for you to consider that, and for your students to wrestle with and experience how music and art is a vehicle that can bring us, if nothing else, into conversation, into a space where we can have conversation about how we move forward and respond to what we're experiencing in our world. This is a great time to start putting questions in the chat if you'd like. I see that our friend Mari, hi Mari, who's obviously at school with your mask on there, has asked, is there a document about the program that we can share with more teachers at our school? That will be very easy for us to create for you to be able to share that as a PDF. One of the follow-ups, what we're gonna do, since we don't have you officially registered now, is we're gonna stay in touch with you over the next couple of weeks. Our intention is to have, we're waiting on our website designer to give us the okay with the portal, to have you to be able to officially register for the program by the beginning of October, hopefully earlier, but no later than that first week in October to have you register for the program. And for those who've done Witness in the past, you'll know this is on our normal timeline. Typically, we don't have the teacher orientation until the end of September. We wanted to get a jump start this year to talk about it since it's so different, to let you know that we're responding to the moment and we're kind of adjusting and really thinking about how we can deliver content to you that you can use. So with that in mind, we'll stay in touch with you with some messages over the next couple of weeks. We plan to, Amanda's gonna work this out, to send you a form where you can write questions after the event that come up, and we will answer those and send them out to everybody on the email list just so that we can stay in touch. And we will add that to our list, Mari, since you asked for that, and then give you the official time to register at the end of September, early October. And then our goal is to have the first group of lessons uploaded in that first week of October, and then have all the rest of the lessons uploaded no later than the end of October. As you can imagine, it's the coordination with all the teaching artists of getting everybody recorded and all that stuff put together and then ready to go. But the plan is that by the end of October, you would have everything, but you would be able to begin using some of the introductory lessons a little earlier than that. And while you feel free to keep putting chats in the question box there, I will let you know Patricia made it. And so I want to at least find Patricia and introduce her to everyone. And Patricia, I was a person of little faith. I told them about your workshop before you arrived, just in case you didn't make it, but it'll sound better coming out of your mouth. So how are you today? Thanks for making time. Uh-oh, I don't hear you though. I see you moving. Let's see.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hi everybody.
Hi,
Yeah, I'm hanging in. I'm bouncing back and forth. Everything's starting everywhere at the same time.
Yeah, well, thanks for making a little time, and just, take a little time and just tell them in your own words about what you plan to do. I read your paragraph, but they should hear it from you, what you want to do this year in your workshops.
Wow. Okay. I got to shift gears. Yeah, I'm in a whole different mind space right now. So my brain usually kind of marinates on a lot of different things as I'm trying to prepare for VocalEssence workshops and what we bring into the schools. And I've been all over the place even this year. But where I ended up landing, I don't exactly know what the workshops will be specifically at this point, but I've been playing with some songs by, there's a movement called Playing for Change, and they have re-recorded a number of different songs. The one that I think most people know about is called Stand By Me, where they have musicians from all over the world, and everybody records from wherever they are portions of the song, and then they edit it all together, and it's global, so it's multiple cultures from everywhere, different instrumentation, different voices, different visual. They have children. It's really a very, very beautiful and powerful platform that is being utilized to impact change and to bring people across the world together. And so I came across a song called Where There Is Love. And when I heard it, I went, that's it. And then I also have been playing with Everyday People and Love Train. And I may do a fusion of all of them somehow, or I may just land on one, but those are the three that really spoke to me in terms of what I'd like to work on with VocalEssence Witness Program this school year, to impact change with the kids, because there's so much violence and there's so much racism and hatred and systemic issues across the board, that it's really nice to have something that has such a positive energy on it with music and movement, and to know that love still exists, and if we continue to feed that, that's what will grow. And they have to know that they can use their voices and their bodies in ways that can have just as much impact as the negativity that is surrounding the globe at this point. And so I just keep trying to push for that. Like, we can fight, but we can also love. And so if that's the thing that keeps staying with me, is that if we feed love, that's what continues to grow. And so I just looked at the platform that Playing for Change is doing, and I was really, really very moved. It wasn't the first time that I've come across them. I kind of tapped into this some years ago when they did Stand By Me, but I actually kind of forgot about it until it popped up. And then I was like, yes, that's what I need to be exploring. And so that's where I'm landing right now. And I love the song. I love the whole premise of it. It's extremely powerful. I mean, you know, the whole world came together in terms of protest around George Floyd's murder all over the world, even though that happened right here in Minneapolis. And so if we can do that with music and with our bodies and with our voices, and bringing people together globally to impact change in such a powerful and positive way, I really would like to be a person that contributes to that. I know that across time, I've been talking to a number of different students of all age ranges, a lot since March, and especially since May. And the thing that I have to keep saying is that everybody is not meant to be on the front line, you know, and everybody is not meant to be an agent of change in the same way. So you have to meet yourself where you are and do what your passion is to impact that type of change. And this is a big part of what I do, is be love.
Yeah, Patricia, that is you. That is you. That's how I see you. And I love the way you just said, everybody's not meant to be on the front line, like out there in that way, you know, speaking out. We can speak out through our bodies. That's what Roxanne's going to show us. We can speak out through our actions, obviously, through those small, gentle, kind words and thoughts that live within us that can become outward expressions. And what I want to share with those of you in the room, and thanks for sticking with us today, it's a great crowd here in the room. When we talk with the teaching artists, and this is something new that's happened in the last 3 years, where we've always engaged with the teaching artists in preparing the workshops, but for the last 2 years now, we've actually sat down to co-create things. And this year, the theme actually was a co-creation where we walked in the room, literally, you know, the Zoom room, and it was like, okay, what's the theme gonna be? You know, and the theme emerged from all of our conversation together. And what I really appreciate about this group of teaching artists is their passion for keeping the art at the forefront, the music, the movement, the creative expression at the forefront, because this is what we do. And then to apply it to how it heals our bodies. It releases the trauma, helps us to get rid of some of the trauma, and then it brings us together, as Patricia says, in different ways to be about that sense of love. So I really think we're in store for a very unique witness experience this year. I will say that we are learning in new ways. We're delving into new platforms of doing this. So we're going to approach it with the utmost confidence and put everything in place that we can, but just bear with us if we have a little technical glitch or something as we are trying to implement things and working on the timeline. But I'm confident that you will find value in the program this year, and your students will really be engaged as they are learning in new and different ways. So with that, we did really well with our timing. I not only want to invite you to put things in the chat, you're welcome to put it in the chat, but if you want to say something, ask a question out loud, just unmute yourself and just say your name and then ask your question. It can be about the specific teaching artist workshop that what they've shared, something about the structure of the program if we didn't answer something or explain something correctly. Whatever's on your mind, we would love to hear from you there. And Patricia, I see you wanted to say something there.
Yeah, I have to go. I have another class. I'm working with my dance ensemble. So thank you, everybody. Hopefully see everybody soon. And I'll call you, GPS.
Thank you, Patricia. Bye.
Bye.
She actually stayed 4 minutes longer than she said she was going to.
Yes.
It's great.
And I'll just jump in quick. If anyone else, I see Laura has to leave as well. So if anyone else needs to dip out, we are recording the entire session and we'll be sharing this out as well so that you can watch it again, listen to each of the teaching artists and what they shared so that's fresh in your mind. So if you won't miss anything, we'll be sure you get the recording.
Thanks, Rob. Are there any questions in the room? No?
Philip, I have a question.
Okay. Is that Bob?
Yeah, it is Bob. I'm Bob Gregory from Arcadia Charter School down in Northfield. Just quickly, I'm wondering if the teaching artists have certain preferences of age groups that they'd prefer to work with. For instance, we're middle school and high school. So that's why I'm asking that question.
It's a good question, Bob. And one of the things that we've talked about is devising. So in the workshops in the past, if you've been in the program, you would see the teaching artists for 2 workshops, a part A and a part B, continuation of A. And so we're carrying that model forward, and we've talked about them either creating 2 sets of those workshops that could be geared towards the younger students, as Ginger talked about, and then the older students as well. Or they may choose to approach it differently. In our minds, it's that they'll be geared in some way where they can be adapted for that 3rd through 12th grade range, knowing that we'll probably meet in the middle. So, and what we can do, Bob, as we get into the actual implementation phase, if particular workshops seem to lean one way or another, we can share that. Like I know Timothy can work with all ages, Dr. Barry, but a lot of his workshops really work well with those middle schoolers and those high schoolers. So we can kind of put that out there too as well. But you'll have access to all of them. So you can even watch a workshop first and decide what you're going to share is another thing. But a great question. Thank you for that.
Great. Thank you.
Barb, hi.
Yes, I've worked with 3 different sets of your artists. So I wanted to see how, I think almost everybody uses student feedback or students help produce the final product. So how is that going to work if it's all virtual? Are you going to have me help with that? Or is it going to be a little bit less of the student feedback model?
I think each artist has been thinking about that differently. And so I have ideas in my mind, but I want to let the teaching artists respond to see what they've been noodling on, or, to synthesize that question. How are you going to get the students to be not only giving final products, but actively engaged throughout your workshops? What are you thinking there, friends? Anybody want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in that water. It's mighty hot. Ooh, that's hot water. No, I think I know that for a fact that for Anita and for me, we are looking at how we do call and response still, and that we do anticipate the educator being more involved in ways that they may not have been in the past, to help usher the students through the process of doing call and response. We know that the platform creates some challenges in terms of feedback and that sort of thing, and the filtering between voices. That's one thing. The other thing we're thinking about is that we would record the song that we're going to do in advance, and then that song can be played for the students. Then they can, in the period between our sessions, have a chance to hear the song, and we would do it probably two versions, one with lyric and then one just a track. Then they could sing along to it. And then with that, we instruct them in the second time through on how to create lyrics for the track they have that has no vocals and that sort of thing. So it would entail more work on our part than what we might experience in other sessions, because we'd be doing it right there in the classroom. But the benefit for both of us that we have it, the two of us as artists, we have it in the can, if you will, and then the teachers have access to it as they see fit.
Thank you, T. Michael. Anybody else want to jump in that hot water?
Let me ask Anita. Anita, does that sound about right?
Unmute yourself there, Anita.
It's a question that we have certainly been talking about a lot. And as you say, this is brand new to everybody. So since Michael and I do have in the past, relied so much on interaction with the kids, I think that, as Michael said, there are certain things that we can do. I think we're also going to learn about other things, but that the teachers will definitely be more involved in our presentation than they have been in the past.
Thank you.
How about you, Ginger? You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's going to be, I'll be able to, make some presentation musically, but as far as working with the students and having them learn the songs, and especially if it's a choir situation, it's going to be kind of on the teacher to have them, help them learn that. And then we'll be ready to make something a little bit more professional after they have learned the song.
And then I think Philip has a sense of the technology. Philip's been doing some amazing work with young people and audiences and bringing their voices in together to have them sing in sync. And I'm sure that he could provide all of us with some great tutelage on how to best communicate that to our teachers and for us to be successful as teaching artists.
Yeah, I wanted to sit back and let you all take it there to see what you're thinking.
I can jump in quick as well. As a dance artist, we always prefer to be physically right there because we're sharing energy and physical space. But it's been an adapting time for all of us dance teachers, because how do you still feel that? How do you still transmit that? So ideally, those online live sessions would be great, but adjusting to whatever situation the classroom teacher is dealing with, because right now it's looking like some of you will have a hybrid as well. But to second everyone, what you said about the teacher being part of it is going to be really important. But my plan is to have very clear steps in my lessons so that there's a very, very easy way to assess that the students have gotten it. They are at this place. Once that box is checked off, they can go to the next step. And I think we'll be able, with some thought to it, to adjust the lessons so that that is a clear progression of how it's going to go. So I think we can do it.
Yeah, I know you can. And there's a little bit of imagination that's there that we have to put into it. And as T. Michael was saying, with the live stream in the morning that we do, there have been times when I've asked people to scat something. So I'll sing something and then you just pause. And it's kind of awkward at first, because like right now, if I go ba-doo ba-doo ba, ba-doo ba-doo ba, now you all sing that, you're on mute. I can't hear you, but I can see your faces, right? and so there's a little bit of imagination that, like, as artists, we're going to leave that space and be engaging to encourage them to do it, knowing that we can't hear them in the moment. But that's where the teachers, if you're in the room with them, you will hear them. You can encourage them. And if you're a hybrid, maybe it's you do it in the room and then you have them do the video at home too. So I agree with Roxanne who said we can do this. It may be that we cover smaller chunks of material in interactive materials in each workshop, but I still think that you will find that there's a sense of interactive value that will come out of it. And any final creations might look different, but I love the idea of having tracks, instrumental tracks that they can then create and layer over the top of, because that supports what a lot of you are already doing, using things like GarageBand and some of the other programs to create layers of sound. So we'll keep that in mind as we're creating, and something we can report back on over the next couple of weeks when we stay in touch with you. Just to address the chat, Mari asked about printed materials in Spanish for her students, and then Sarah said Hmong and Somali also. And so we had talked about closed captioning in Spanish in particular, but let us deal with that. Let us take that and see how the songs that Ginger is talking about, could we find a way to have, Hmong, Somali, and Spanish translations. We do have a company that we've worked with to do that in the past. So we will address that and let you know where we are with that. So thanks for raising those very important access issues.
Hey, Philip, I know that in the interest of the honoring people's time is an hour, we're just at that point right now. I did want to suggest and offer up, even though we're meeting in 2 sessions as we always have, it could conceivably be the case, just for the benefit of learning, that one session could be broken up into modules itself, so that the learners could conceivably do module lesson plan 1 in 3 modules, so that the teacher could use 15 minutes of their class time, cut it off, and start a second module. So depending upon how Anita and I pull things together, or any of our artists, they may very well, teachers may find that they'll receive multiple modules in one lesson plan for that class that helps them learn, administer it to the students.
And if we do that, we will just break it up smaller, because that's one of the things with Rob and Amanda and our designers. Once we start learning that, we'll break them up in the smaller. So you may get an email from us saying, we've decided to do 5 workshops or 4 workshops, 4 15-minute workshops. We're going to learn that very quickly when we get into the recording process. And I see some boost ups about that in the chat of going, yeah, just break it a little smaller for us. So that's good to hear. And we'll keep that in mind as we start collecting and putting things together. So it is 5 o'clock. So what I want to say is, because some of you were shy, you're being Minnesotans, and you didn't want to ask your questions here. When you get the email from us, send us your questions, whatever they are. No question is too silly, too simple. We've got a lot of things we're thinking through. So you send us the question, and what we'll do is we'll answer them and send them to the entire list, so that it keeps us in touch with you. And we commit over the next 3 weeks, you'll get at least 1 email from us, so you know that something's happening with the program. And then we can give you that ETA of when you can sign up and become officially a part of the program. And please share the word with everybody. We've heard from people in outstate Minnesota, some folks in other states. And that was one of the reasons from going online also, was this is a chance to cast the net a little wider and let more people have the opportunity to benefit from this amazing team of teaching artists, but also this content that so needs to be a part of every student's learning experience. So thank you so much for being with us. We did it. We covered everything we wanted to cover. Hope you have a wonderful beginning to your weekend, holiday weekend. Stay safe, keep your mask on, use your hand hygiene, keep your distance. And if you haven't started school yet, we're sending you all kinds of good, positive feels for next week when you get those students in your classrooms, all right? We love you, be well. Teaching artists, if you got 3 minutes to hang on after we let everybody go, that'd be great. Okay. Everybody else, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. We'll be in touch with you soon. Thanks for joining us today.